The sun hung low in the Texas sky, casting long shadows across the dusty roads of Amarillo. Caleb Granger wiped the sweat from his brow as he secured the last of his tools in the back of his old Ford F-150. The truck wasn't just a vehicle to Caleb, it was a lifeline. Bought with his first paycheck after returning from Afghanistan, the truck had seen him through dark times, a symbol of freedom, resilience, and survival. As he locked up his workshop and headed toward the diner for a late supper, he didn't notice the pair of leather-clad men lurking in the shadows. Their eyes gleamed with interest as they watched Caleb walk away from his beloved truck. When Caleb returned an hour later, his heart dropped. The parking lot was empty. His truck was gone. Caleb stood frozen, staring at the spot where his truck had been. The diner's neon lights flickered above him, casting an eerie glow on the cracked pavement. Rage bubbled beneath his calm exterior. He clenched his fists, his mind racing. "Who the hell would steal from me?" he muttered. He stormed back into the diner, the bell above the door jingling loudly. The waitress, Sarah, looked up from the counter. "Caleb, everything all right?" "My truck. Someone took my damn truck." Sarah's eyes widened. "Oh no! I've heard about a gang running through town. They've been taking vehicles and causing trouble." Caleb's jaw tightened. "Do you know where I can find them?" Sarah hesitated. "I've heard rumors about a biker bar out on Route 66. It's called the Iron Den. But Caleb, these guys are dangerous. You can't go after them alone." Caleb's lips pressed into a thin line. "I've faced worse." The next morning, Caleb set out for the Iron Den. His heart pounded with a mix of anger and anticipation. The roar of motorcycles filled the air as he approached the bar. Dozens of bikes were lined up outside, their chrome gleaming in the morning sun. Inside, the bar was dark and smoky. Rough-looking men and women filled the room, their eyes turning to Caleb as he walked in. He felt their stares, but he didn't flinch. He approached the bar and leaned in. "I'm looking for someone who might know about a stolen truck, a Ford F-150. The bartender, a burly man with a beard down to his chest, raised an eyebrow. "You got a death wish, buddy?" Caleb's gaze was steady. "I just want my truck back." A man at the corner table stood up, his leather vest emblazoned with a skull and crossbones. "You're looking for us, old man?" Caleb turned to face him. "Looks like it." The biker sneered. "We don't give back what we take. That truck's ours now." Caleb took a step forward. "It's mine, and I'm taking it back." The room fell silent. The tension was palpable. "Big talk for a guy standing alone," the biker said, drawing a knife from his belt. Caleb smirked. "I've never been afraid to stand alone." Caleb left the Iron Den bruised but undeterred. The bikers had made their position clear. They weren't giving up the truck without a fight. But Caleb wasn't backing down. As he drove back to his workshop, he formulated a plan. He couldn't take on the entire gang head-on, but he could dismantle them piece by piece. That evening, he sat down with a notebook, jotting down everything he remembered from his encounter at the bar. Names, patches, symbols. His military training kicked in, and he began profiling the gang's hierarchy. He reached out to an old friend, Marcus, a former intelligence officer. "Marcus, I need a favor," Caleb said over the phone. "Anything for you, brother. What's going on?" "There's a gang here in Amarillo. They stole my truck. I need intel on them, who they are, where they operate." Marcus didn't hesitate. "Give me a few hours." By nightfall, Marcus had sent Caleb a detailed dossier on the Iron Kings, the biker gang terrorizing Redwater. The leader, Mason Grim Cole, was a former convict with a reputation for ruthless violence. Caleb studied the dossier carefully. He learned their patterns, their safe houses, and their weak spots. His first target was a warehouse on the outskirts of town. Under the cover of darkness, Caleb approached the building, his footsteps silent on the gravel. He spotted 2 gang members standing guard. Taking a deep breath, he moved swiftly. In seconds, the guards were disarmed and unconscious. Inside, Caleb found a stash of stolen vehicles, including his truck. "There you are," he whispered, running his hand over the hood of his F-150. But before he could drive it out, he heard footsteps behind him. "Thought you'd come back for your ride," a voice growled. Caleb turned to see Grim, flanked by several gang members. "This ends now," Caleb said, standing tall. Grim laughed. "You really think you can take us all on? You're outnumbered." Caleb's lips curved into a smirk. "Maybe, But I've got something you don't. Grim raised an eyebrow. And what's that? Caleb stepped aside, revealing a row of carefully placed explosives. A backup plan. Grim's expression darkened. You're bluffing. Caleb pressed a button on a small remote. The explosives ignited, causing a controlled explosion that rocked the warehouse. Chaos erupted. The gang members scrambled for cover as Caleb moved swiftly, taking them down one by one. Grim lunged at Caleb, knife in hand. The two men grappled, their fight brutal and unforgiving. You should have stayed gone, Grim snarled. Caleb drove his fist into Grim's jaw. This town's mine. You don't belong here. With a final decisive blow, Grim fell to the ground, unconscious. By dawn, the police had arrived to round up the remaining gang members. The town of Amarillo breathed a sigh of relief as the Iron Kings were dismantled. Caleb stood beside his truck, watching as Grim was loaded into a police car. Sarah approached him, a grateful smile on her face. You did it, she said. Caleb nodded. I just wanted my truck back, but I'd do it all again to keep this town safe. As he climbed into his Ford F-150, the familiar rumble of the engine brought a sense of peace. Caleb knew there would always be more battles to fight, but for now, he had won. And this time, he wasn't fighting alone.